Well, ahead of that one, here are the managers.
Have you spoken to the team about what you expect from them on Sunday? Because they've really struggled at home in the Premier League over the last 2 seasons, really.
Yeah, we speak from day first. So we have this 3-4 session. From day first, I go immediately very concrete things because there is no time to lose, even with choosing the exercise. What I said is it's not, of course, possible in short trainings to do big changes, of course, but something we need to see.
I'm sure you've seen the headlines. Arsenal have blown it. Arsenal are bottling it. Have you seen anything in the mentality since then and over the past couple of weeks that's concerned you or worried you at all?
What I've seen is a tremendous reaction again, and I'm not surprised at all. I mean, when you lose points, also in the last kick of the game again, in a very unpredictable manner, I would say, because to predict somebody with a 0.2 expected goals probably and one shot to concede an equalizer the manner that we did it is nobody can really understand that. But this is football, and that's the beauty of it. And that was a chapter. So we have a long season. Chapter 27 says, okay, we draw against Wolves in this manner. What I'm very interested is about the next one, is what we are made of. Okay, what do we do about this, and how we write our own destiny from here and going forward.
So Spurs deciding to get on that merry-go-round with the managers and hiring Igor Tudor. You can understand why, because they had a couple days break. But were you surprised by the appointment?
Yes, I was, because Spurs are a huge club and they're not a club to be gambled with, if you like. Igor Tudor is a journeyman manager. He's never spent longer than around about a year at a football club. He may say that he's got quite a high win percentage rate, but that win percentage is based on a very small sample size, small number of goals. And the thing about Spurs is that they need a big manager with a plan that the players can have confidence in. Quite interesting looking at that VT you were showing us a second ago, because I'm not sure... Spurs don't have a warrior like any of the players we saw in that VT. There is not a Gareth Bale, a Luka Modric. There is no... And this is part of the problem. There is not a leader in that Tottenham team right now. Had no one of the calibre of Harry Kane. He's like... Harry Kane would be like Godzilla, and whoever they've got now would be like Barney the dinosaur.
I think Van der Ven.
It's just ridiculous. Honestly, I know. I wasn't trying to be... Actually, it's quite good, I thought. But
I like that.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just don't have that bite. They are porous in defence. They are lightweight in midfield. There's that stat, isn't there, about them conceding the most goals from outside the box. What does that tell you? The midfielders are not doing their jobs. And then you look up front and, OK, they'll score some goals here and there, but they're not that great. I mean, listen, take a look at some of these.
Yeah, this points to what you were saying, you know, conceding from outside.
I think as well, like Igor Tudor, I know he doesn't stay at clubs for long. He was at Juventus as an assistant when I was there, but I do think they needed that little bit of freshen up. You spoke about the injuries, Darren, as well. I mean, these are the types of things. When goals are being scored in the moments like that, that is players not having the willingness to get out.
Really?
That is the type of thing, you know, that's something you can't, you know, you don't need to be told. We all have bad games, right? But when you have, like, the willingness to get to a ball, that's an attitude thing for me. So hopefully, Igor Tudor going in there, it's temporary. You know, he's never stayed at a club longer than a year, as Darren mentioned. So this appointment came out way out of left field, but also... they needed something different. I think the fans now need to just get behind the team, in all honesty, because they can't keep sacking managers time and time again. Daniel Levy was the problem before, according to the fans. He's no longer there. Then it's the Lewis that's the problem. Then it's the Lewises that are the problem. Like, the players, I'm not making excuses, but they have a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries.
Like the starting 11, basically.
But even I suppose my point with Spurs, and I'm happy to be the Grinch on this one. When you looked at that stat, that graphic just now, you had Nottingham Forest, you had Wolves, and then you had Spurs as conceding the most goals from outside the box. And we saw an image of Paulinho there, and we could see why he didn't last that long at Bayern Munich. Because if teams are able to get shots away that
he was good at Fulham,
get past you, he was decent.
Really good at Fulham.
But then, you know, he seems to have lost his way. And if they're going to do something in the summer with a new manager, and the word is that Pochettino will come in after Tudor leaves at the end of the season, then what they've got to start with is rebuilding that defence. And when Pochettino was there first time around, the joint best defence in the Premier League with Manchester United in his first season at Spurs, and in his second season, the best defence outright. He made Southampton one of the toughest places to go in the Premier League, all based on that defence. So he would rebuild them.
The thing is, I love Poch, right? And he's a good friend of mine, but I think there's this romance of what it was like at Tottenham. He's the only manager that's been there, that's got them to a Champions League final. There was even talk about Ryan Mason coming in as the interim again. Now, if the fans get what they want, they clearly want Poch back, hopefully that works out. But if it doesn't, then what? Do you get what I mean? Because he's not a miracle worker. There's a lot of problems at Spurs. Like, we talk about the injuries, but, like, do they have the pedigree of players that can take them to another level? They lost Son, Harry Kane. I like Van de Ven. I think he should be the captain.
Yeah.
You know, I know Romero's the captain, but, like, Van de Ven has those qualities, but they just don't have, for me, like, a lot of young players that are decent. You know, Archie Gray's decent, Bergvall, but they don't have, like, to make your point, enough leaders in that team. So there's a lot of frustrated fans at Spurs. So, but the timing of this appointment, Igor Tudor coming in the North London derby, at home. Tottenham is in a place at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They don't win games there. But this could be a massive game. If Tottenham can get a result out of this one, it could really, you know, not change everything, but...
Yeah, but there is that new manager bounce factor, and we have seen that with new managers coming in and managing, to do well in their first game.
Carrick?
Yeah, that isn't it. He's had a couple of games, new manager bounce. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. Maybe they just realised that they had a couple of days and there was a space and they could get someone else in. I think the reason why it's surprising is because of that idea that Poch would return in, after the World Cup. There's a lot of top quality managers becoming available after the World Cup. And so we were expecting a little bit more of a different interim manager, maybe someone who'd been there before, maybe some of the former players.
Yeah, I think when you look at Tudor's record, as I said before, he is very much a journeyman manager, but I think they brought him in for the reasons that you've just said. A, because he does get that bounce where he goes, but B, because I think a lot of managers here would have said to them, I'll come, but I'm not coming for 6 months. I'm coming to have the job. And they may well have had their eye on Poch and said, listen, this is the guy we want, this is the guy that we think will win the fans over. Because
he didn't leave on bad terms at Juventus.
No,
it was based upon, Juventus not being in a good frame, but the fans weren't mad at him.
But I think as far as the longer term with Tottenham is concerned, the fans want someone that they can align with. Now, there's an argument for saying that some of their best managers have arrived by accident. They wanted Louis van Gaal. He didn't want them. That's when Pochettino came in. They had higher profile managers before they... designs and higher profile managers before they brought in Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp was the guy who got them into the Champions League for the first time in their history. So it could well be that he is a good fit for now because of that bounce. They are too close to the relegation zone, but he's not the man for the long term.
Yeah. And then going into this game, much as it's big for Spurs and their new manager, probably even bigger for Arsenal because, drop points against Wolves, that 2-2 draw. Manchester City could be just 2 points behind them by the time this kicks off. It's bringing up that dreaded B word again for them.
It is. And, a lot of people have been speaking about it. I know a lot of Arsenal fans. My dad's a massive Gooner and, they are so gutted. They feel like they conceded the league the other day, genuinely, because they now have to go to the Etihad as well. And I think, you look at this guy's a fantastic striker as well. I mean, Arsenal go up in this game pretty early on. Saka gets the goal. And I think, a lot of people are saying we will, bottle jobs, they choke you when it really matters. But this is why you have to have high-quality players that can take the pressure. Because if this is... Many Arsenal fans were not saying they're going to win the league. If it was Man United or Liverpool or City, they'd be saying, we're going to win this league a couple of months ago. And then this is where, Jesus pushes Mosquera. For me, it's not enough for Mosquera to have to go down, to be honest, in that moment. Look, come on. He doesn't need to go down in that moment, mate. Come on. Do you know what I mean? Gabriel Jesus shouldn't be doing that. But at the same time, that's not enough for him to go down. But yeah, I mean, the wheels do seem like they're falling off. I still back Arsenal. I'm probably one of the only people that continue to back them. But if this doesn't get over the line, Jules, I worry for Mikel Arteta because they're still in all competitions. Obviously, they play in the League Cup against City in March. That's a big game. But Pep and City, I think, just have that mentality. They're mentality beasts. If Pep was the Arsenal manager at this moment in time, I'll be backing Arsenal all the way.
Because there have been opportunities against Liverpool, for example,
Forest,
against
Sunderland.
Brentford, against Forest, against Wolves, which, would have given them that advantage having played first going into the next couple of weeks. They just cannot seem to mentally get there. And there are not a lot of players in that team who know how to get over the line.
I'm still trying to work out what the B word is.
Bottle.
Oh, bottle.
She even said
I
it.
said it. He don't listen to me.
You
He's thinking of Barney, the dinosaur. isn't he?
The B word. What's the B word?
What B word did you think it was?
No idea.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being, you're absolutely right. I think that they are scared of their shadows. They don't seem to be able to deal with the psychological pressure of being in front. And it was interesting because when they played Manchester United, for example, they scored first, but they couldn't cope with the league. They didn't know what to do. And then Man United came back into the game and worried them out of it. And now they are losing against teams you'd expect them to beat. I mean, this was the draw the other day was them top and Wolves bottom. And I could possibly allow them the draw at Brentford because Brentford are a very, very hard place to go. Only City and Forest have been able to win at Brentford so far this season. But I think there is a psychological pressure on Arsenal's players. I think two things here. I think they're feeling the anxieties of the manager because he wants them to play to a very almost template.
They've changed their style though, Darren, because beginning of the season they were playing free-flowing, fluid football, and now it's almost like when they're 2-0 up, they're wasting time.
Is it a side now that's more afraid to lose than a side that's going for the jugular?
So. I think so.
But why has that changed, though? Because it was working. They were absolutely annihilating teams. There was a time they were top of the Champions League table. Do you know what I mean? And now it's like they're so reserved.
This is my point about the manager. I think the anxieties of the manager are coming through. I think a lot of the players are afraid to make a mistake because they think that if they do make a mistake, they'll be dropped from the team. And the problem for Arteta is City have form for coming from behind to win. Their form for being at their very best in the second half of the season. And Arsenal have form for being in front. Last season was 8 points they were ahead.
And the year before that as well.
Yeah, the last time they were in front, 8 points and they lost it. They have form for blowing it, and that's their problem. I think that they still do have the quality and the capability and the defensive strength to be able to win it, but I think City had the know-how to be able to pick them off within the last few games.
The only thing I will say, though, consolation is that this isn't the City of old. Like, the players they have there, I like them. I like Shirky, Mamouche. I think they're decent signings, Reinders. But this isn't like Vincent Kompany, Kevin De Bruyne. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's the mentality is quite different.
Yes,
but
there's a problem with that. The City still have a 25-goal-a-season striker in Haaland who is getting his form back. Semenyo's arrived to score the goals while Haaland's been through his little barren spell. Yes, they're not as strong defensively, but Arsenal keep dropping points. This could be a draw, the North London derby. The Chelsea game could be a draw, and suddenly it's wide open. You said, didn't you? 2 points behind they could be by the time they play on Sunday. If you think about the games that Arsenal have got coming up, this could be a quite pivotal fortnight for them.
Yeah, and that's why the North London derby is such a big...
To be interesting to see what happens. OK, right, there was some positive news for Arsenal fans this week. Though Bukayo Saka's new contract, the Arsenal winger, hasn't yet hit the heights of the last couple of seasons, though. So we asked our resident tactico, Pythagoras in Boots, to look into why.
With Arsenal in danger of losing the nerve in the title race, the pressure is on Bukayo Saka yet again to try and get the Gunners over the finishing line. But their star boy is having his worst per 90 season in terms of goals since breaking into the Arsenal team. So what's gone wrong? And is the new change in position the key to securing silver and maximising his potential? Well, let's start with busting some myths. It's not effort. His sprint numbers are consistent with the last 2 seasons. It's not involvement. He's still second for touches in the box. And it's not creativity. He's Arsenal's leading chance creator. The real issue is that his teammates aren't finishing what he's creating and also where his shots are coming from. Last season, a lot of his goals were inside the 6-yard area, tap-ins, arriving beyond the striker. This season, his shots are further out. So the volume of shots is there, but he's taking it from lower percentage areas, which begs the question, why? Well, striker profile. With Kai Havertz as the false 9, Saka was averaging 0.44 goals per 90. He was running beyond more. With Gyökeres, his goals and assists have dropped by almost a third. Central zones now are occupied differently. That 6-yard box seems less accessible. So he's shooting from slightly wider, slightly deeper. Another factor is predictability. Odegaard and him had an elite connection. But teams are wiser to that now. They overload that right-hand side. He's double marked. he's having to take shots from more difficult zones. Now, if you move Saka centrally, you solve three things. One, he's harder to reference. He's not going to be pinned to the touchline, avoids that 1v1, sprint duels, double marked in wider areas. He can choose when to burst instead of being forced into running with the ball. Central players do cover a lot of distance, but the intensity profile will be different. Less max speed running. More combination play, more players around you as well, harder to pick up. It also means Madueke, who's more primed to run at fullbacks again and again, will get into the side too. So it does seem that the answer isn't forcing him back into last season's version of a right winger. It's asking what's the next evolution. And that's something that Saka's dealt with his entire career. At academy level, forward, but as a teenager, at times he's playing as a left back, a year up to accelerate his development. Also broke into Arsenal's first team as a left back. And he has played centrally before as well during the lockdown season. So ultimately, history tells us one thing about Bukayo Saka. When the role changes, he usually finds a way to level up. And Arsenal are going to need that if they're going to hold their nerve.
It's a fascinating debate, really, isn't it? What happens, do you think, on Sunday, Tim, for Saka? Because he played in that number 10 role, didn't he, against Wolves? He gets the goal.
Yeah.
Does he start there, do you think?
Really interesting, because Eze scored a hat-trick against Tottenham in a reverse fixture.
Right.
So, I certainly, as a manager, would say he likes playing against them. He nearly joined Tottenham, and then Arsenal make a late call, and he goes there. If he plays... Eze doesn't play. I think Noddy Madueke's done a fantastic job on the right-hand side, and I think Saka will play in the 10 role. We saw him against Wolves. He was drifting over towards the side here. He can't help himself but do it, but they combine really well together. So it's what an opportunity it is for Mikel Arteta.
It's a nice problem to have,
and a great problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I bet Igor Tudor wish he had that problem.
Yeah, I bet he does. What would you do? I mean, Eze is this super talent that obviously got the hat-trick in the reverse. As Tim was saying, he likes playing against them. That was his debut, wasn't it, for Arsenal? I mean, not a bad debut.
What a debut. Yeah, I think Arteta is going to assess the players after the game on Wednesday and see, what the energy levels are like. And Bukayo Saka, they have a good connection as well. They have good link-up play. So, he might play them together. It's difficult, to know what he's going to do, but certainly he's going to put a strong team up there, and they're going to be looking really good on Sunday.
I'm rightly informed it wasn't his debut. I apologise. In terms of Eze, though, do you think he's got the full trust of Arteta yet, or do you think he's still got a lot to prove or a little to prove?
I think he's got a bit to do.
Okay.
I think he's been quiet. He would argue he hasn't had the run of games. He needs to play on a regular basis and the confidence coming off the bench a lot. His impact's not been fantastic. We know he's got the ability. We can see, with our own eyes that the guy's got everything. He's got the pace. He can receive the ball in tight areas. I think when he played at Palace, obviously teams come out against Palace. So when they broke on the counter-attack, he had loads of room to drive forward, which is a massive attribute of his, driving with the ball. It's tight. Teams sit back, against Arsenal, and then the tight positions where he can receive it gets tighter and tighter, and he's got not a lot of room to operate in. We saw him against Tottenham. It was effective on that occasion. We haven't seen him against them, but he lived off that. You score a hat-trick in a North London derby, you can live off it, and you can be forgiven right up until now. Now the Arsenal fans are saying, you need to turn up again. But if someone turns up in a white shirt on the weekend, they can be a hero also.
Yeah, they certainly can. All right, a true Super Sunday awaits you, doesn't it? You can see live coverage of the North London derby from 4 p.m. on Sky Sports Premier League. OK, as always on Premier League Friday, we want you to get involved in the show. And tonight, we've asked you one simple question. Who will win the title, Arsenal, City or Villa? You can vote via the QR code right now. We'll bring you the results before the end of the show. Stay with us, though, because coming up next, we're going to hear from the Sunderland boss, Régis Le Bris, who hasn't ruled out bringing European football to the Stadium of Light. And we catch up with former boxing world champion who reveals what he'll do if he sees his beloved Bournemouth play in Europe.
I said that now, no. That's it, it's got to be done. I'm up for it.